It's Saturday morning. Good morning. We're reading from Acts 12, 1 through 5. About that time, Herod the king laid violent hands on some who belonged to the church. He killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. And when he saw that it pleased the Jews, he proceeded to arrest Peter also. This was during the days of unleavened bread. And when he had seized him, he put him in prison, delivering him over to 4 squads of soldiers to guard him, intending after the Passover to bring him out to the people. So Peter was kept in prison, but earnest prayer for him was made to God by the church. We stop there because the next passage is fairly long, and it's all about how Peter gets out of prison, but I don't want to spoil anything. This is Herod Agrippa. Now, the Herod is the family name, so when you say King Herod, it's like saying President Bush. Well, which one are you talking about? George H.W. Bush or George W. Bush? We have to be clear. Herod Agrippa, who is, I think, the grandson of Herod the Great, who was the king when Jesus was born. This is like AD 45 or 46. We had that marker in the last chapter. So this is a long time after the resurrection. Jesus has been gone for 15 years. Peter is surely afraid at this point. He's put into prison, heavily guarded, waiting for the festival week to be over so that Herod can bring him out. Now, Herod just killed, or had killed, it wasn't clear who did it, James Peter, James, and John, James the brother of John. He just had him killed. So Peter knows, I must be next. And it's been a long time since Jesus was with them, and I'm sure he was feeling some anxiety. I'm sure he was worried. I'm sure he was thinking, oh no, they're going to get me. They're going to drag me out. The mob is going to kill me. The Herod's going to kill me. Somebody's going to kill me. What am I going to do? And so he sits in prison and he just waits. Because Herod thought this was a great idea. We'll just kill some of the people, kill some of these leaders, and this movement will die off. Well, it wouldn't die off, of course, but that's what he thought. Somewhat later on, the same Herod is king when James, the brother of Jesus, James the Just, he's called, who was the brother of Jesus and the leader of the Jerusalem church. And there are a lot of extra biblical sources about his death, and most of them disagree with each other. He was stoned to death, but before that he was thrown off the edge of the temple or kicked down some stairs or something. So there's some fall involved, and he's injured, and then they stone him. And the high priest gets into a lot of trouble about this, and a new Roman governor is coming, and he is not going to put up with any nonsense like this. And so Herod has to depose the high priest and satisfy and soothe the anger of this incoming governor, which he manages to do. So Herod is no fool. Herod's a good politician, and Herod sees which way the wind blows, and he's able to survive. The Jameses, not so much. All of the apostles, though, met their death at the hands of generally the Romans, excuse me, or the local people. James, brother of John, son of Zebedee, dies here. His brother John is the only one to live a long time, and it's generally assumed that he's the same John as John the Elder. in Patmos who lives a very long life and gets the visions and writes the Apocalypse before he dies. We're not sure of all of that. Could have been a different person, but that's what tradition tells us. So most of the apostles died a martyr's death, and Peter did too later on in Rome. But at this point, I'm sure Peter must be terrified. Well, I'm getting ahead of ourselves a little bit here, but I'll tell you that God is going to intervene here. And Peter is going to be somewhat miraculously freed from jail. Well, that's tomorrow's reading, or Monday's actually. So think about that when you're down and when you're scared and when you're despairing and thinking, oh, there's nothing else to do. God always intervenes. Not always, but God will intervene, and God will produce something you never would have guessed. Cling on to that, because that will keep you sane. And we will see you Monday morning.